this is where the whole generative engine optimization is kind of coming in now. Things are moving from search engine optimization to generative engine optimization.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Confessions of a B2B Entrepreneur. Today we have Boobesh of LatentView. Now, Boobesh has been with LatentView, who are a AI-powered marketing analytics company. He's been with the firm for, I think, essentially since they started, and now is a VP. And what we cover with Boobesh today is part of this AI journey that I'm going on, is really how AI can be used in the marketing process, especially with big budgets, in order to ultimately lower acquisition cost and increase lifetime value. And so I think this is going to be super useful for anybody in the marketing business or any marketers listening, because we can understand how we could basically do our jobs better with the use of AI. So we'll jump into that in a second. Quick shout out to Fame for producing this episode. If you'd like a show like this, go to fame.so, request a proposal, say that Tom sent you. Let's jump into this discussion with Boobesh now. This episode is sponsored by MailTrap, an email delivery platform designed for product companies. Go for high deliverability, growth-focused features, and industry-best analytics. Get 20% off all plans with our promo code B2B Entrepreneurs, all capitals B2B Entrepreneur. Check the details in the description below. Boobesh, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me.
So my selfish rationale for this recording and this episode is that I've been kind of burying my head inside of the fan outside from the AI-empowered world. And what I really want to do here is dig into the weeds of AI and marketing with somebody that has like real world experience. And so here's the plan for the episode, to basically educate me and the audience of how AI is being used in specifically performance-driven marketing. So if that sounds good to you, I'd love to kick off.
Awesome.
Amazing. I think let's give a bit of context to the audience first. What is your role at LatentView, and how does it enable you to be a legend in the world of AI and marketing?
What we pretty much do is we are a services organization. LatentView is a services organization. And my specific role is to help the CMOs in all the enterprise organizations that we work with. We typically work with Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies. And I kind of support the CMO functions in terms of the channel marketing that they are doing, the campaigns that they are doing. How is it performing? Where they should invest? Which are the channels that is actually working well and not so working well? What kind of campaigns resonate well with the audience? Which segment of the audience needs to be focused more on? And providing these insights to the marketers, backing by the data, is where we kind of come in. We use data to drive decisions. And in the process, we use AI, ML algorithms to provide the insights in a way that the marketers are able to understand and use it for their journey.
Got it. And so when did you guys start using AI?
We have been using it for the last 20 years. The company started in 2006. That is when I also started working. In fact, the initial few models that we have built, which is the machine learning models at that point in time, we built more for the financial institutions. And if you look at the whole analytics and the data as such, financial sectors was the pioneers in terms of using it, because we all had our credit scores, and all our credit scores come up with some kind of an algorithm in the back end. And not many people understand in terms of how the credit scores has been built. That is where we kind of come in and help in terms of building those credit scores, finding out who are the people who are going to pay and who are the people who are not going to pay, and all of that. Right. From then, in terms of building scores and models for the financial services, over the years, with accumulation and with a lot more industries moving into digital, there is so much of data that is being captured. And with that data, there is a lot of intelligence that you will be able to uncover and provide it back to the businesses. So it's been a long journey for LatentView, and as such, from the time that statistical algorithms and logic came in, the AI ML has always been there, and now it is a lot more commercialized and consumerized.
That makes sense. And so you guys were like perfectly positioned when AI became a buzzword in like B2B services. You didn't have to jump on it, right? You're already basically driving the train.
Yeah, 100%. So what has actually changed is there was a lot of structured data that most of the organizations were storing, and we were using those structured data to bring them insights and provide it back to the business users. But over the last 10 years or so, especially after Google started publishing some of their white papers, initially they started publishing called NLP, which is a natural language processing. And then came the transformers. With the transformers, they launched something called BERT. Actually, if you go to Google and do searches, the search backend algorithm that uncovers in terms of what is the next word or the letter that you're going to type is kind of using the BERT algorithm. So we have been started using transformers and BERT algorithm for some of our enterprise clients. And the expansion of that is the ChatGPT generative AI when OpenAI launched it in 3.5. OpenAI launched it in October 2021, right? So that is when it kind of expanded, exploded, and many people started getting aware of it. But as an organization, we have been using it for a very long time.
Nice. Okay. So can we like make this tangible? And so I'd love to talk through, it doesn't have to be like a real life example because maybe it's confidential, but an example of how you guys analyzed the data from a big company doing the advertising and what you guys found and then what you tweaked and what the results were.
It can be as basic as like every organization spends tons of money in marketing and they spend tons of money in different channels. And for an organizations to understand in terms of which is actually the channel that is yielding results for me, either depending upon their objective, right? Some objective can be, hey, I want to bring in more users to my website, or I want to bring in more users to my shop that I hold. I want to have more users not only come into my website, but actually convert. Or it can be more like, I want to have more users who can transact higher value items and not really the basic ones, right? Depending upon the objective, we kind of understand which are the effective channels to use and how much appropriately you need to optimize and spend. And that is what we call it like media mix modeling, which is the bread and butter of, I feel like any organizations that is spending across different channels at an enterprise level needs to have first model in terms of where do I need to spend, how much I need to spend so that I'm able to optimize the budget and I'm able to get better ROI for the money that I'm spending, right? And this helps the marketing organizations to have a better conversation with the CFO and the CEO also, saying that, hey, you're giving me a dollar and I'm making the dollar into 2x or a 3x. And this is how I'm doing it. And you can prove it through the data. So it can start from in terms of channel optimization to all the way going to in a particular channel, what kind of campaign is working. So what kind of creative is working well for which kind of an audience to that level. And we can kind of help uncover all of this to the marketers through data-driven approaches.
Essentially, what we're doing is we're pulling out loads of data from campaigns and then we're using AI in order to decide what we do next. Is that like a good summary?
The summary is more around as long as an organization is able to capture the data on what the campaigns that they are able to do it, they will be able to monetize the data and understand and provide insights on top of it. And that insights can help in terms of doing a better next campaign.
Cool. And so if we have a CMO listening and they're spending X amount, what would you advise them to do in order to optimize their spend?
We do have a framework for it, but the key thing that they need to understand in terms of what are the channels that they are focusing on and how much of those channels are digital channels versus non-digital channels, right? Increasingly, after the pandemic, a lot of marketing spend has gone into the digital channels. But now we have seen from 2024 and 2025, there is a lot of events that has been happening. And there is a lot of non-digitals also spend that has been increasing. So it is good to understand in terms of the overall budget, how it is being distributed, whether how much is being spent on digital versus how much is being spent on non-digital. And then if a large portion is both digital and non-digital, starting with a media mix modeling is a good approach to find out in terms of what is the ROI they are getting for every dollar that they are spending. If it is more around the digital channels, there are techniques like multi-touch attribution, which kind of goes into and understands in terms of within the digital channels, what are the channels that is effective and not so effective. Clubbing that with doing a lot of A/B testing and experimentation kind of helps the CMO to understand which particular campaign and which particular creative is effective versus not so effective.
Do you see any marketing channel working really well right now?
The trend keeps changing depending upon the industry that you are in, and across different industries, there are different things that's been working, especially because we are talking from the B2B perspective. I see LinkedIn becoming a lot more popular now, and the increase from the CMOs organizations to the LinkedIn as a channel is becoming a lot more popular.
It's interesting what you're saying earlier about how we're not necessarily just trying to find cheaper customers. We're maybe trying to find different customers that are going to retain for longer or buy different things in different bundles. That's like a next level of granularity that I've ever really thought about with marketing.
That is so true. In fact, a lot of marketing organization and even the CMOs, CEOs, the question that they are asking is, hey, for all of the, are we really buying our customers, right? And if we are really buying our customers will kind of come in and do one or two transactions and not may have the loyalty to it. So that is where organizations have started focusing on lifetime value of the customer, what we call as like LTV. And lifetime value of the customer is a good way for the marketers to understand what is the ROI that they are able to. The CAC is not really measured on, the CAC is a cost per customer. The cost per customer is not really measured on the first transactions that they make, but it is measured on the cost of acquisition of getting a customer and what is the lifetime value that they are able to provide. The lifetime value can be measured either in an annual perspective or in multi-year, right? Typically, it has been measured in a 1 year or a 3 year return period for the cost that you're spending.
Makes sense. There's like a CMO listening right now, or maybe someone lower down in their team, and they don't have like millions in budget. I mean, maybe they have like tens of thousands. How would you recommend they use AI to analyze their data?
Right now, depending upon the channel, first they need to understand in terms of who are their customers. I think getting in terms of who their customers are super important. Understanding their ICP is super important. Finding out the geography or the region that they need to focus, and understanding the product market fit in terms of what is the product that they have, what kind of customers are they going to attract, and then doing a simple research on where these customers are going, where are you going to attract these customers are, right? Which are the channels through which you are going to attract. Pick a particular channel, be very focused, pick a particular set of customer ICPs. ICP is the ideal customer portfolio that you need to focus on, and then run targeted campaigns. With the targeted campaigns, there are some data that you are going to have, there are some learnings that you are going to measure. And with that learning, you can continue to experiment and move forward. But going very narrow helps a lot rather than going broad.
Got it. And where does the AI come in?
Once you have the data, how do you use this data to provide better insights, right? Typically, we have been using a lot of in terms of structured data, but what I have been seeing more recently is in terms of coming up with the creatives also. If you want to create a marketing image, before you need to go and work with an agency team, you need to give them a brief in terms of, hey, this is a concept that I have, and for this concept, I need to come up with a creative that I can put it on in my Facebook or a YouTube channel or in Instagram and all of that. Now that can be created through the generative AI, right? So that is where the biggest value for the buck for the modern marketers is. And any prototyping that you wanted to do, you don't need a bigger team to do those prototypes. You can just do that prototype just with a simple prompt. And that is where people can get started. It is, if I have an idea, if I have a concept and I want to generate a prototype, I can just go to the AI, generative AI today, either any of the languages that you prefer. It can be OpenAI, it can be Anthropy, it can be Google Gemini, Vertex AI, and all of that. You can have your prompt and then create a simple image that can help you to get kickstarted. Even coming up with a website is not very difficult right now. I can create a brand new website in like less than an hour using the AI. So that's the power of AI at this point in time.
It is crazy. So then also that makes sense in terms of setting up the campaign. And then once the campaign is live, let's say we are focused on LinkedIn, as you mentioned, can I like export data from LinkedIn Ads Manager and then give it to ChatGPT to tell me what to do better?
100%. Yeah. You can, in fact, LinkedIn itself has this LinkedIn dashboard where you're able to go in and find out in terms of who are the people who are able to see my post, what kind of geography that I'm, all of the basic information that you are able to get it's already there in most of the platforms that you have. And if you wanted to combine that with your internal data, where kind of data kind of helps us, you want to understand how many people came from LinkedIn and how many people came to my website. out of the people who came to my website, how many customers have bought a transaction. And that customer transaction or the customer usage in your website is not really there in LinkedIn. So that is where the power of AI kind of comes in. You will be able to download the data from LinkedIn. You will be able to connect this data to your internal database and find out that who are the customers who came from LinkedIn, what kind of content they were looking at in my website, and which content helped them to move into it's a funnel, right? It's a funnel in terms of awareness, consideration, conversion, and engagement. You can kind of measure all of this through the data, and this is where the AI can kind of help you to simply upload the data and ask the right questions.
Yeah, you're totally right. I wasn't even thinking about combining the platform data with like proprietary website data. That's the key, isn't it? And historically, I guess it's typically used to be like the paid ads manager who would like get the spreadsheets and try and match them up and work out what was happening. But now, because AI can, I guess, look at thousands of variables at one time, it's just much better at doing it.
Yeah, in fact, the campaign managers doesn't need to go to the data analytics team to get some of this. The campaign managers can download all of this information, upload it into a portal, and then ask all the questions. And he or she doesn't need to know in terms of what is the coding language. Just by simple prompt or even a voice prompt, they'll be able to get the answers that they want.
So what do you think happens to the job of the campaign manager?
It will evolve. They'll start thinking in terms of what kind of concepts that I need to think about, which kind of audience that I need to target, and what is their audience preference and all. They'll be more in the market to understand what customers are looking for, rather than sitting behind the computer and finding out how do I what insights should I make out of this data.
So you're not of the view that AI is going to completely replace that role. You're of the view that the role is going to evolve.
Oh, definitely. In fact, today morning I was looking at something, and then they say that as long as a problem exists, the people need to come up with a solution, and the problem is never going away. So there is going to be tons of problems.
So everything we covered now is like what's happening right now with AI and marketing. Do you have any view of like what we might be able to do, I don't know, in like 6 months or 1 year or 5 years?
My hunch is there is going to be two things that's going to happen. A lot of creatives that we are seeing today is going to be AI empowered, and it is going to be a lot more personalized. Today, if you go to any channel, let's say, and what I've been impressed by some of the B2B companies, especially the bigger ones, are how they are adapting to the younger and Gen Z kind of an audience. And especially I was impressed by in terms of how ServiceNow, which is a company which is a B2B company, and it is not really for the direct consumers. It is only for the enterprise clients that they are using, and how they are able to come up with some innovative videos, marketing videos to promote their brands. I see that is going to happen a lot more, and all the CPG and the consumer businesses or businesses that is going directly to the consumers is going to personalize their content a lot more for the individual, depending upon what their likes and dislikes are. So there is going to be a plan, a lot of work on creatives at every. I think there is going to be a lot of creatives that is going to be out there, and each creative is going to be personalized for every user. So that is one. The second is audio as a format is not being tapped on so much in the B2B businesses. That I think is going to be a lot more effective. And especially, I don't know if you have used Notebook LM. It's a great product. I love that. If you want to learn about a particular topic, you can throw in all of the content into the Notebook LM and then ask them to convert it into a podcast, and people will be able to listen to it, right? So think of it today. All of the CMOs and the business leaders, they need to come into the office, open the laptop to understand in terms of what the numbers are changing, what is working, what is not working. They may need to log into a dashboard to understand what metric is going up, how is my finances going up, what campaigns is working, which campaign is going live, and all of that. Tomorrow, if these data is being converted into an audio format and sent out to the leaders even before they start to the office, they can just listen to all of it while they are driving to the office, right? And even before they step into the office, they know in terms of what is the metrics, how things have been happening till yesterday, and what are the things that they. So that I see a lot more is going to change both in terms of the creative and the audio format outside of all the measurements and the readout that we have been doing.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Imagine commuting and getting like a podcast of yesterday or overnight for you to be prepped for the next morning.
And especially it is very personalized for you depending upon your likings and the order of preference that you prefer.
So your advice to somebody who's in marketing but haven't really got into AI yet, they're a generalist. How would you describe, or how would you recommend they get started?
Definitely, they need to start using it. Stop reading about it and start using it. There is nothing better than playing yourself and getting your hands dirty. So even for your day-to-day purpose, start using it. Understand in terms of how AI can help you in your personal journey, and then think about how AI can help in your team's journey, and then think about how AI can help in terms of the organization journey, right? But start using it. I think that I feel like we are all getting started in this. Everybody has a different maturity level, but we are all just getting started on this, and the space is going to evolve a lot.
Yeah. So basically, next time they need to create an ad, they should use AI to support them in the creative creation.
Even for ideation, I suggest that even for ideation, you need to start using AI to understand in terms of who your audience is, what can kind of resonate with them, what are the likes and dislikes and all of that. It can be a great tool for just ideating. And then you can build some simple prototypes to come up with a campaign to show you to your leadership team in terms of what kind of campaign that you wanted to run.
It would be awesome if we have a specific example of how AI has been used in B2B.
What I have been seeing recently now is with the whole thing that is happening in the search engine. I know that all of the companies used to spend a lot in the SEO and wanted to get their website or their product come in the top 10 pages, top 10 listing in Google searches. Now that is being changed, right? Because how all of us have been searching is changing. We are not going into Google anymore. Even if we go into Google, we see that there is an AI generated context that is being set. Pretty much most of us are just reading in terms of what this AI is generating and then going to our next searches. We are not even going into the links and the pages, or forget 95% of the people don't even go to the second page. Most of the people stay in the first page and this. So this is where the whole generative engine optimization is kind of coming in now. Things are moving from search engine optimization to generative engine optimization. Now all companies are looking to figure out in terms of how they can come in the AI generated text of all of the search engine, either it's Perplexity or it's Google or it's ChatGPT and all of that. And the race for getting into the AI generated text is catching up, and it is evolving. I think we are all learning in terms of how placed in the generative engine and not really the search engine. So that is a big shift that I have been seeing now.
Nice. Well, Boobesh, I feel like we hit the goal of educating somebody in marketing that doesn't really know what's happening in AI. Thank you for coming on and sharing your AI/marketing wisdom. Whereabouts can people find you? I know you're on LinkedIn, Boobesh Ramadurai.
Yes, you can. I'm sure you will be able to put the LinkedIn link, and they'll be able to. And anybody who wants to chat with me, please DM me, and we can get on a quick call.
But yeah, amazing. Boobesh, thanks so much for your time, and you'll hear from us soon.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Okay, what do we think, team? Everything about LatentView and Boobesh will be linked below. I hope we gave you some ideas if you're a marketer looking to optimize how you're doing your work in order to get cheaper customers and ideally customers that last for longer. Massive shout out to Boobesh for joining the show. Thanks to Fame for producing the show. And of course, thanks to you for listening.